Frag Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another episode of Frag Tag Radio. And here with you today is your boy, Prayus. And so a couple things wanted to go over today. But before we get into that, of course, got to get those plugs out there. That's Appy Gamer. Appy makes you happy. Great app to get all your gaming news. That one is on Android, iOS, and Windows. I believe you can get the Windows 8 or the Windows 10 store. Great. It's got all pretty much any gaming news source you could think of. IGN, GameSpot, VG247, Frag Tag Radio, your boys. So they got everybody up there. It's the complete package deal. Also, gaming news and reviews. It's by News Fusion. Another great app. They got all your news sources as well, including your boys at Frag Tag. Those gaming news and reviews, that is on Android and iOS. Don't believe they have a Windows or Windows Phone version, but it is what it is. And then lastly but not least is Game On, and shouts to Troy. Game On is on iOS and Windows Phone. So if you're on Windows Phone, Game On is your number one source to get to gaming news there. And I don't know if I don't know if they're working on the Android version of the app, but if not, hopefully they are, and we'll have one out soon, because right now it's just Windows Phone and iOS. But if you're on Android, of course, you still got Appy Gamer and Gaming News and Reviews holding you down. All three of those apps are absolutely terrific. The best gaming news apps on the market. So check them out. They're all absolutely free, and you can catch your boys Frag Tag Radio on all of them, as well as your other favorite news sources as well. So definitely worth taking your time to check those out. Also, you can catch us, Frag Tag Radio, on Twitter at Frag Tag Radio, youtube.com/Frag Tag Radio, fragtagradio.com. You can catch us on Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, everywhere. Just everywhere. And with that, so last episode, I did my review of Destiny the Taken King, which caught me by surprise. As you know, if you saw last episode, it turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I've been playing it, obviously, more since then. I'm still playing. So there's a lot of content in there that will keep you busy for a long time to come. I think one of the cool things about it is like quests that are just now popping up. Like when Destiny Taken King first came out, everyone knew about this fusion rifle called the Sleeper Simulant, which is actually a heavy weapon. It fits in your heavy weapon slot like a heavy machine gun or a rocket launcher, but it's actually a fusion rifle. And people were saying how great this gun was going to be and how hard it was going to be to get, and it was hidden somewhere in the game, and everybody was going buck wild crazy trying to find the shit. And then it turns out it just pops up one day as a random mission on Earth. You go to Earth, you do a mission there, which gives you like a thing that you need to decode, and then you go to another place where you have to like get to the top of Cade's Tower in under 4 minutes and get this thing called the Iclos core or something like that, and then you got to charge the core up by dismantling a heavy weapon, doing the archive mission on Venus, I believe, and doing like defending warsats on the moon, Mars, Earth, whatever. And then once you get that charged up, then you turn it into Banshee, you wait a day, then the last part of the quest pops up, which is a strike mission. Pretty easy to do. Once you do that, you get the frame, you turn that into Banshee to finally get the Sleeper Simulant. It comes out at 290 attack, which is and overall, I gotta say, with all the hype that was surrounding Sleeper Simulant, I was expecting it to be a much better weapon than it is. And that's not to say that it's a bad weapon. It's actually pretty decent. But, you know, being that it's an exotic and you can only hold one exotic at a time, you know, I would rather probably likely see myself using Touch of Malice, Suros Regime, Black Spindle, maybe even Telestos, that other fusion rifle, or a Thunderlord. You know, I don't know, but it is a decent weapon, and you know, if you probably could infuse it up to 310, you know, it'd probably be worth something. And of course, the exotic swords at 310, if you've got your exotic sword, you know, all three of those things are beast. And most people, I think a lot of people just use their exotic swords to keep that equipped all the time. So That is what it is. Speaking of which, I finally got my exotic sword. I went for the Void one, which is called the Dark Drinker or something like that. Really badass sword, but I tell you, grinding for those exotic swords is such a pain in the rear because you got to farm for these materials. Like if you're doing Void, you got to do Relic Iron. And so I went to Mars, of course, to farm for Relic Iron, and you farm a piece of Relic Iron and hope to get a shard inside of the Relic Iron that you're farming. The problem is those shards aren't in every piece of Relic Iron that you farm, and you need 10 of these shards. So I ended up farming around Mars for about 2.5, 3 hours before I finally got my 10 shards. I'd say you'd probably get 1 shard for every 20 to 30 Relic Irons that you farm, which is not a very good ratio. For Destiny, the Taken King being a turnaround for Destiny and making it into a less grindy game and more about the missions and more about teamwork. This kind of harkens back to Year 1 Destiny. It reminds me a lot of the Year 1 Destiny with the needless grinding and just boring crap. So the good news is once you get the exotic sword, it's totally worth the time. All the exotic swords. I heard that the Void Sword is the most powerful of the 3, the best one. That's why I went for that one first. I also hear that the Solar one is the second best, and then Arc. And while Arc Might is said to be the weakest of the 3, it is the only one of the 3 swords that has a ranged attack, which is pretty cool. So you can take out enemies from a distance. So I definitely, I have 3 hunters, and I plan to try and get, one of each on each element for each exotic sword on each character. So I eventually have all 3. Then I can move between my 3 hunters. Another good thing about having 3 characters of the same class is you can move armor between your characters. So doing that, I've been able to do the raid 3 times each week and constantly get more stuff for the hunter. So I've got my hunter up to, I think, 307 or 308 light. I'm getting really close to 310, which is the max as of right now until the heroic version of the King's Fall raid comes out. We have Trials of Osiris and Iron Banner returning this coming week, the weekend of October 16th. So all your Trials and Iron Banner peoples, y'all are going to be excited about that. I'm absolutely sure. I really don't see the point of even bringing Iron Banner back when you've got Trials, because they're almost the same thing, except for, with Trials, you got the win-loss thing where you've pretty much got to win to succeed. And Iron Banner, you can just kind of stack up over time. So I guess, they're leaving Iron Banner in there for players who maybe aren't as good but still want to get some good stuff, which I guess is kind of understandable, but it's kind of a moot point at the same time, because, if you're playing PvP, you're playing to win anyway, and it's all about skill, and it's all about, winning. So, but yeah, so both of those are coming back, obviously. Let's see, what else? I also got the Touch of Malice. I got that actually either right before or right after I did my review 2 weeks ago. So I've been playing with that for a lot. I pretty much switched back and forth between the Touch of Malice and the Suros Regime. I've got my Touch of Malice, which comes out at 310 regardless. That one you have to collect at least 45 calcified fragments and do a bunch of different missions for Eris Morn, and then she'll finally give it to you. That was actually a lot harder to get than the Sleeper Simulator or any other weapon I've done so far, just because collecting all those fragments is a little time consuming. Suros Regime, I got my Suros Regime, I actually originally got it at like 280 or 290, and then I got 2 Monte Carlos back to back, both of them at 310, and so I infused both 310 Monte Carlos into my Suros Regime, got that up to 310. Sorry for you Monte Carlo fans out there that are like, what, you broke down Monte Carlo? I'm sorry, it's just not, I don't like high rate of fire, low impact auto rifles. They're just not my thing. It is a pretty accurate auto rifle, but Suros Regime just kills it. Suros Regime 1,000 times better than Monte Carlo. I'm sorry. So Suros Regime, Touch of Malice, I switch back and forth between those depending on the situation, where I'm at, what mission, what enemies I'm fighting. And if I need to use an exotic slot for, say, Black Spindle or my Thunderlord or Truth or whatever, then I switch over to my Hung Jury. I've got my Hung Jury up to 308 attack. I just need one more 310 weapon to infuse into my Hung Jury to get that up to 310. For those who don't know, the Hung Jury, I believe it's the SR4, is the scout rifle sold by Dead Orbit. It's got Firefly on it, as well as another really awesome perk. I forget what the other one is. It's got a good rate of fire, great impact, great range, good stability, and it's just a beast of a legendary scout rifle. And the perks on it are absolutely amazing. So obviously that comes out at 280 when you get it from Dead Orbit, but it is well worth infusing that thing up to 308, 300, 308, 310, whatever, because it's an absolute beast. And sometimes you need that exotic slot for a secondary or heavy, and Hung Jury fills the void for that primary absolutely terrifically. It's just an awesome weapon. Let's see. Other than that, I got the Ace of Spades, which is the class weapon for the Hunter. I believe the Warlock is a scout rifle, and the Titan, I want to say it's a shotgun, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so the Ace of Spades, it's a great weapon. Does really good damage, and every time you get a precision kill with the Ace of Spades, it automatically reloads or puts another bullet directly into the magazine. So you pretty much never have to reload the thing. The problem is it only holds, I think, 10 or 11 bullets in the clip, and then like 55 bullets external. So you got like 66 bullets total, and you will go through those bullets fast. That's another problem with the Hawk Moon. Great pistol, runs out of ammo way too fast. And yeah, like I said, and with that, I'm still playing, going for more stuff. I've still got a few more quests to do. I actually still haven't got the Bully and Gemini because I didn't play a lot of the House of Wolves, so my Queen's rank is only like rank 2, and I still need to get to rank 3. And one or two more other quests. But I'm really getting to the point where I'm almost out of things to do with the Taken King. But hopefully, once the heroic version of King's Fall Raid comes out, I'll be busy with that for a little while. I'm still running Nightfalls. Once you get your light level to 300 or better, you have a much better chance of getting exotics and stuff to drop at 310 attack or defense, based on whether it's, of course, weapons or armor. But I've gotten, like those 2 310 Monte Carlos. Those were from Nightfalls. I got a 310 chest plate from Nightfall, and I infused that into my raid chest plate. Got my raid chest plate up to 310. Got a couple of 310 helmets. I really want to get the Skyburner's Annex up to 310, but I've only got that up to like 297. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I got to say about Destiny this time. Not a lot new other than the trial stuff coming up. Hopefully the heroic version of the raid comes sooner than later. I hope soon, because Halo 5 is right on the horizon. We're going to be hopefully working on our review for that very soon. So I'll be playing that, working on our review and lead up to launch of Halo 5. And of course, we'll have a review for that. Whenever the NDA date for that is, we will have our review up the exact day. As soon as Microsoft lets us put our review up, we'll have it ready. If not a complete one, an ongoing one. I'm sure a lot of people will have ongoing reviews as well. It depends on how long I have the game, how much I'm able to dig into both the single player and the multiplayer. But rest assured, our Halo 5 review is coming. And with that, that's probably going to take away from my Destiny time. Might need to take a little break from Destiny for a little while, because on top of having to try and play Destiny, and then with Halo coming, and then Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Fallout 4, which Fallout 4 is going to keep me busy for who knows how long, Warframe. Everybody knows I love Warframe. You love Warframe. If you don't love Warframe, you got some issues. And if you haven't played Warframe by now, and you watch this episode every other week, because we're a bi-weekly show, then I really don't know what to tell you, because I talk about Warframe every week, and if you haven't played it by now, you probably never will, but you should. So if you haven't played it, check it out. If you haven't played it, good on you. So I think 17.4, update 17.4 came to Warframe on consoles, and with it came primary syndicate weapons. I talked about those before, mentioned a couple of them that were coming, so now I pretty much have my hands on all of them. Let me just go through. First, with Steel Meridian, you got the Vacor Heck, which is the Grenier shotgun, the Telos Boltor from the Arbiters of Hexus, which everybody loves the Boltor. Everybody loves the Boltor Prime. Telos Boltor is a great gun in its own right. I gotta say, The Boltor Prime is still better, but if if Boltor Prime is not an option for you, you might be able to get Telos Boltor a little bit quicker, and it's definitely better than the regular Boltor. So it's somewhere in the middle, right there between regular Boltor and Boltor Prime. Let's see, the Cynoid Simulor. The Simulor is actually a fairly new weapon. It just came to Warframe not few months ago, and already we've got a different version of it, the Cynoid Simulor. That is from the Cephalon Suda Syndicate. A lot of people are in Cephalon Suda just because the Cynoid Gamma Core was so popular before it got nerfed, and people just stayed in that syndicate. So a lot of people have the Cynoid Simulor. Next up, with Pair and Sequence, you've got the Secura Penta, which is a pretty cool weapon. Gotta admit, I haven't played with it much yet, but I'll get around to it. I have ranked it up to 30, but I just haven't played around with it much yet. The Sancti Tigris, which is another really beastie shotgun. I believe it does a good amount of slash damage, which is kind of weird for a shotgun, but it's a beast. The Sancti Tigris is a beast shotgun, and you can get that from New Loka. And then lastly is the Racta Cernos. Now, the regular Cernos is an okay bow in its own right, but the Racta Cernos absolutely blows it out of the water. If you're a bow and arrow guy, you usually stick with Paris Prime or whatever. Racta Cernos, you're going to want to check it out. It's an absolute beast, like us up there with Dread, which is another good bow and arrow. But yeah, Racta Cernos, that is from Red Veil. Worth checking out. Other two new weapons that came with 17.4 is the Nux for your Arcwing, which are these giant mechanical fists that you can just pummel the enemies in outer space with, or underwater, now that we got the underwater Sharkwing stuff on Uranus. Really cool weapon. I've been really enjoying that. It's really fun. It's got some good moves. It just feels good punching the people and just beating the crap out of them. And it takes people down quick. It does good damage. And then lastly is the nunchucks. They're called the Ninkondi. Ninkondi. If you know how to pronounce that and you feel like correcting me, feel free to do so. But yeah, really awesome weapon. This is probably the best new melee weapon that we've had for Warframe in a good while. They do good damage. They're really fast and they're really flashy. I just love how they move. And there is a new stance mod to go along with them called the Atlantis Vulcan. It is an uncommon stance mod, not too hard to get. I mean, it's not super easy, but it's not too hard either. I can't remember if there's an exact special spot where it drops or how I got it, but as a matter of fact, I believe that we just had them add it to my account so I could check it out and tell you guys about it. But yeah, it's really cool. Nunchucks and the stance mod complements them very well. Also, I got to try out the Prisma Shade, which also comes along with the Prisma Burst Laser. Those of you on consoles, you're still going to be waiting another month or so before Prisma Shade comes to consoles. It's already out on PC, but I have tried it out on console, and it is awesome. All right, so first of all, I want to say that the Prisma Shade has double the amount of shields as the regular Shade. The regular Shade has 50 shields. Prisma Shade has 100. The armor is higher. The regular Shade has 50 armor. Prisma Shade has 75 armor. The power and health are the same as the regular Shade, 100 power and 350 health. That is the same for both the regular Shade and the Prisma Shade. But with that double shields and the higher armor, Prisma Shade, you're gonna want to get your hands on it when Barrow has that for sale. The Prisma Burst Laser is pretty much better in every way. And that comes with the Prisma Shade when you get it. It has higher DPS overall. It's got a higher status chance. It's got a higher crit, but still weak because it only raises the crit chance from 2.5 to 5, which is still nothing in the grand scheme of things. Nowhere near worth doing a crit build with. And then the crit multiplier goes from 1.3 to 2.0, which is still nothing worth talking about. But overall, it does a higher DPS, and that's all that matters. Other than that, the last thing I want to talk about is Trinity Prime. Everybody was wondering what the new Prime was going to be. Turned out it was Trinity. There was a lot of speculation that it was going to be Trinity, and turned out it is. And I got to say, Digital Extremes did such a great job of designing Trinity Prime. She is the most badass looking Prime Warframe to date. Obviously, Loki is really badass looking. Still one of my favorites. Right up there as far as aesthetics and looks. But, Trinity Prime just looks badass. She looks so badass that even though I've never been a huge Trinity fan, I've been using Trinity nonstop. And not just because she's new. Or because of the fact that she comes with like 4 formas already on her, 4 polarized slots, which is amazing. She just looks badass, and I just like using her and looking badass while I'm doing badass ninja stuff in space. It's great. It's awesome. Check her out. You can start farming her now in the void, or you can pick up the Prime Access. And if you get the Prime Access for $80, that comes with not only Trinity Prime, as well as the new Dual Commas Prime Reaper Scythe melee weapon, and the Kavasa Prime Kubro Collar, but it also comes with, I believe, 2,650 platinum, which is a hell of a deal in the grand scheme of things, because $80 would buy, and normally $80 would buy you like almost that amount of platinum, but not quite. But not only are you getting the platinum that you would normally get, you're pretty much getting Trinity, the dual Commas Prime, and the Kavasa Prime Collar for free. I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. And it also comes with icons of Trinity Prime for you to put on your profile as well, which is kind of cool. It did come with the Prime Gene masking kit, but that has been moved over to the Prime accessories pack after a bunch of hoo-ha from the fan base, because, you know, normally Prime Access is platinum and stuff that can be earned in the game, and Prime Accessories is all about platinum and stuff that is aesthetic but cannot be earned in the game, that is absolutely exclusive to the Prime accessories. So they moved that over, the Prime G masking kit, to the Prime accessories. Prime accessories also comes with the Kavasa Prime armor, which is like prime armor for your Kubro. It looks really badass. Not sure about the nose. The nose looks kind of like a muzzle, and the rings on her neck kind of reminds me of the rings on Volt Prime's arms. But I mean, it's really badass looking armor. And the Naviga Prime Sugatra, which is, I wonder, because we got a Prime Sugatra last time with the last Prime accessories pack, and now we're getting another Prime Sugatra. I'd rather have a... Oh, no, we got a Prime Sayadana last time and a Prime Sugatra the time before that. I'd be getting it mixed up. But, you know, Sugatras are so small, and you put on your melee weapons, and they're cool and everything, but not, you know, most people don't really get to see them because you're always moving so fast in Warframe. I'd have rather had a new Prime Sayandana or some new, or Prime Armor. I want some new Prime Armor. The last time Prime Armor we had was with Volt, which was like this Prime Samurai Armor, which was cool. Before that was the Prime Targus Armor, which is my favorite. But I rather would have had some Prime Armor or another Prime Sayandana. But hopefully we'll get some new Prime Armor with the next accessories. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. And with that, that pretty much covers everything about Warframe. We're waiting for 17.5 to come to consoles. It is already on PC, which brings Atlas, which is the new Brawler Warframe, which has the new, like, Earth abilities where he can, like, pull giant rocks up out of the ground to make cover for himself, or push it forward where it rolls into a boulder and, like, just tramples over the enemies. Absolutely great frame. I can't wait to play with him more once he comes to consoles. And then Wukong, the Chinese Warframe, which is exclusive to China right now, but will be coming to everybody else soon. Looking forward to that. He looks like a really cool, almost stealth Warframe where you can turn into that cloud mist. And the new boss battle, which is going to be the new trial or the new raid, is going to be an Arcwing raid. It's not in 17.5, but even though the raid wasn't quite complete, they did put the boss battle from the raid in, so we could start working on the boss battle now, getting the mechanics of that down, so that way when the actual raid or trial comes out, all we got to worry about is making our way to the boss, and then once we get to the boss, we'll already know what to do. So once 17.5 comes to consoles, we'll be able to start trying out the boss battle, Arcwing boss battle on consoles. That should already be on PC as well, I believe. And yeah, so that covers just about everything I got to say about for Warframe this episode. Obviously, look forward to more Warframe coming up on the next episode. I will have a lot more to say, as I always do, because Warframe is the shit. And last but not least, we're a little bit late on our Madden review. We got our review copy of Madden a little bit late. And then J. Ray, you know, coaching baseball and everything, and me being tied up with Warframe and all this other stuff. It's just been super busy, but we've all had a chance to play it, sit down. So I wanted to just go ahead and talk about that and give our review on Madden NFL 16. So, There's a new mode called Draft Champions, which is 15 rounds where you get a choice of 3 players per round, and this is like it's like a mix of legends and new guys. The cool thing about it, where it differs from the Ultimate Team, is that you pretty much get great players, legends, immediately without having to grind for them. And it doesn't require like a large time or a lot of investment like Ultimate Team does. So it's kind of a cool way to play with the legends without having to really invest and put in all the time the Ultimate Team requires. Um, all the other modes are pretty much unchanged or have received some minor tweaks. That's the only real new mode is Draft Champions. Some new core gameplay additions. There are new receiving mechanics when you're playing as a receiver. This is kind of a big game changer because in the old version of Madden, you would just throw the ball, and then for the receiver, you would just hit the button, grab it, whatever. Now you're given 3 sort of risk/reward options. One of them is the possession catch, where the receiver basically doesn't care about gaining yards after the catch. It's just all about getting the catch and holding it. And then after, you also have the aggressive catch and the run after catch, which the run after catch is obviously about getting the yards, and the aggressive catch is just pretty much getting it at all costs and possibly gaining some yards if you can, I suppose. The quarterback can now do a touch pass by double tapping the corresponding receiver buttons, which is pretty awesome. There are now drive goals and connected careers that allow you to do or get extra XP by completing the drive goals. The cool thing is that it's not required, and you're not penalized if you don't complete the drive goals. You just get extra XP if you do complete them, which is a cool little addition. Other things, let's see, the announcers are largely reused from last year, which is a little bit of a bummer. Was hoping to have some new announcers or at least some new dialogue recorded, but it's pretty much copy and paste there. The presentation is really incredible this year. They're actually really catching up to the NBA and 2K Sports in their presentation. It's almost there, but not quite. 2K still holds the crown as far as presentation, but Madden is really getting close to them in that aspect. There's also some minor animation bugs when like tackling on defense. Some funky movements that look really unnatural when you're getting into like a gang tackle, like a bunch of people tackling at once. That needs to be fixed hopefully next year. And then like one time I called a timeout, and it showed the other team's coach calling a timeout at the same time, but it gave me the timeout. Or it took away one of my timeouts, but gave them the timeout, which is really kind of a bummer. And then they need to add an option to skip cutscenes in there, because there's a thing now where like if you challenge a call that a ref makes on the field, then it like goes to this cutscene that like shows him like reviewing the replay and the instant replay footage, and then he comes out and then he gives his decision on whether or not to reverse the call. And you just pretty much have to sit there and watch the whole thing. And really all you want to do is just know if he decided to let you reverse the call or not. So hopefully next year they'll add an option to skip through that cutscene before he announces his decision. But yeah, so overall, this year is some pretty good improvements over last year of Madden. Last year's Madden was really drastic improvements, big game changer year for Madden. This year comes close to that, but not quite. It feels, a couple of big changes and then some minor ones. But overall, I would say 4 to 4.5 frags for Madden NFL 16. It's a really solid release this year. And considering Madden still doesn't have really any real competition out there, the changes that they've made, it feels, almost as if they did have some competition, because they've made some significant changes. Like I said, not a game changer like last year, but pretty close. So 4 to 4.5 frags for Madden 16. Great football game. If you're the type of guy who picks up Madden every year regardless, obviously you don't care what the hell I'm saying, you're going to get it anyway. If you're one of those types of guys that maybe picks it up every other year or every 3 years, or you just wait to see the reviews and wait to see if this year's worth picking up, I would say if you're a big Madden fan or a big football fan, this year's worth picking up. If you're a casual Madden fan and you bought last year's, then you could probably hold off and wait for the next big game changer Madden, which will hopefully be next year or what year after, whatever. But yeah, so 4 to 4.5 frags for Madden, and I'm going to continue playing Destiny: The Taken King. and Warframe. And obviously, we're going to have our Halo 5 review coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. And then right after that, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Fallout 4. It's going to be a huge holiday season full of great games, great reviews. So stay tuned to Frag Tag Radio. I'll try to give you the most honest, quickest news, reviews, previews that I can when I can. It's been a good episode, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Frag Tag Radio.